Feel-good productivity is a popular trend, and why not? As we go through life, as much as possible, it makes sense to try and make things as less miserable as possible for us as we can. However, although there are lots of books and courses about happiness, I still don't think much is covered related to the difference between happiness and pleasure. And this is what I want to look at in this video. So stick around, watch this video and get some ideas to consider about what happiness and pleasure mean to you. I'm going to say that they are two completely different things. Let's start with pleasure. As I see it, there are a number of features that are special to the feeling of pleasure. So the first thing is that pleasure is connected to the senses. This means that it feels good. You can touch it, you can taste it, you can hear it, it looks good. That's where pleasure comes from, interaction of your senses with the environment. The second thing about pleasure is that it is temporary. A pleasurable experience will end, it will disappear, often quite quickly. Your beautiful romantic night out will end. Your business class flight will land. The expensive, delicious meal that you saved up for will be eaten. And then the last point I have about pleasure is that you can buy pleasure. In fact, to experience pleasure, you probably will have to spend money. Pleasure does not come for free, usually. If you have enough money in the bank, then there's always something that you can think of that you can go out and buy or pay for to experience that will give you pleasure. Happiness, on the other hand, has completely different features. Let me tell you what I think the features of happiness are. Firstly, happiness is all about your mind or the state you are in. It is not connected to sensual excitement. External stimuli do not really trigger happiness, they trigger pleasure. The second feature is that happiness is longer lasting. In fact, I would argue that happiness can actually last for years. Think about the question, are you happy? Well, yes, the question does address how you are feeling now in this moment, but it also implies your general state of affairs over a period of time. We talk about marriages being happy, for example, and that's got a longer term reference to it. And then the last feature is something I'm going to call the happiness paradox. This is a paradox where happiness doesn't come always from doing nice things. In fact, I would suggest that happiness often results from going through or overcoming difficult situations, maybe experiencing some suffering, getting through to the end of something that was very uncomfortable to experience. So often happiness comes out at the other side of difficult and basically unpleasurable experiences. Achieving happiness is also the result of the hard work and energy that you might put into bringing projects to a successful result, achieving goals, making outcomes happen that you want. So that's really what I want to say in this video, that it is useful to identify pleasure and happiness as two different things. Happiness is more of a long-term driver, and then pleasure is a boost, a shot in your arm immediately. Notice that both are important. We shouldn't just try and prioritize happiness. At the end of the day, human beings seek pleasure. It is a natural thing to do. You shouldn't try to deny pleasurable experiences, and let's face it, our ego will seek pleasure all of the time. That's kind of the default state that we want to be in. The key is to recognize when you can let pleasure into your world and when you need to think and concentrate more on happiness and doing things that will result in happiness later on. So, just to close this video, I'd like to offer 3 possible questions that might be useful to help you identify between pleasure and happiness. The first question is about identifying which one you spend a lot of time on. So the question is, in one day, how much time do I spend over pleasure-seeking activities versus happiness-building activities? Second question, what projects am I involved with? Are there that, if they are achieved, would bring me happiness? And the third question, what are my bad habits? And what am I trying to avoid by doing them? So let me know in the comments, do you think this is an important difference to identify between pleasure and happiness? If you like this video, remember to subscribe to the Spirit and Action YouTube channel. The Spirit and Action YouTube channel commentates on strategies in personal performance. You can get tips, tech, tutorials, reviews, all related to how to strengthen your spirit and drive you to action. In the meantime, have a fantastic morning, afternoon, day, week or weekend. I'll see you in the next video.